everybody. I'm Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com. I am so glad you could join me today. I've got a really pretty card. I'm calling it my pretty little layers card. We have got some scallops and some squares, some beautiful things going on with this card. Do you see the great dimension on my flower as well? This card was actually very, very quick and easy to make. I think it's going to make a beautiful card to send and brighten someone's day. So let's get started with our card. I have a piece of Whisper White thick, cut 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2. And we can give that a nice crease with our bone folder. Now let's talk about our layering pieces. I have a piece of Whisper White, 3 1/2 by 3 1/2. I chose Pool Party as my kind of pop of color there. That Pool Party is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then I have another piece of Whisper White, 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. For my flowers, I've really just got a scrap of Whisper White. I believe this one is 2 by 5 1/2. We just want to make sure we have enough to stamp and punch 3 flowers. This card is going to look so sweet with a little linen bow. This is what's going to really top it off. So we've got our little linen bow, and let's go over our ink pad colors. We have 3 ink pad colors today: Pear Pizzazz, Sahara Sand, and Flirty Flamingo. The star of the show is going to be the Floral Essence stamp set, and it has a really great matching punch. I love this little flower because it's meant for layering, and that's what makes for a beautiful 3D flower. So we're going to be using that stamp set, and we're also going to use the Layering Squares dies. So I've got a couple scallops and a straight edge, and I'll show you how we're going to do our cutting. We're going to go ahead and actually start with that cutting. We're going to start with our scallop square. You're going to know what size because it's going to fit nicely inside the pieces of cardstock I had you cut. So I have a scallop on my Whisper White. Let me actually flip that over so that you can see it. I have a straight edge for my Pool Party, and then I have a scallop for the last Whisper White. So I hope that you can see how to do those. Now, you may be going, well, Connie, can't you really just cut that to the right size? You know, I have found sometimes I am just not always the best at cutting straight, and I do love to make sure those are going to layer perfectly. So I am going to go ahead and use a die on that one. Let me go run all these through my die cutting machine. All right, let's do some stamping. I'm going to be stamping on this small Whisper White. I'm going to start with the Sahara Sand ink pad. This is for my sentiment. And it says, all days are beautiful that begin with you. Let's stamp this up in the upper right corner of our scallop. All right, now we're going to take the Flirty Flamingo, and now let's stamp our flower. So I'm going to take that strip, and we'll stamp once, and I'm going to rotate. That'll allow me to get a little bit more out of my cardstock. So I'm going to stamp that 3 times. And now we can take that matching punch and let's punch all 3 of our flowers out. And then I'm going to take a mini glue dot and I'm just going to press it there in the center of a flower. Now what I want to do is just lay these just a little ski-wampus, all right? Just a little off center from each other, but not totally, all right? So just about 1/3 of the way over, because we're gonna add our next one right on top of that, and that's what's gonna fill in. Look at this, voila. Yep, we filled in that flower, so pretty. And yeah, now when I talked about giving it dimension, you can see we can kind of fluff those petals up. Yeah, such a pretty one. Okay, I'm going to set this off to the side for just 1 minute because we need to do a little stamping on our card base. And we're going to add some leaves in Pear Pizzazz. Now we got to get a little creative because I'm not 100% sure where these leaves need to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my scallop, and just to be on the safe side, I'm actually going to flip it upside down, all right? Just in case I accidentally touch it with my stamp, but I'm not going to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it right there. I want to be able to see where everything is going to line up, where I'm going to center that up. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to add some leaves around here. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to move that piece of cardstock. Now I can add a few more leaves just right around that. Okay, guys, oh my gosh, I think it's actually time to put this card together. Don't you love it when putting them together is that fast? That just makes my day. All right, we're going to add our scallop right over those leaves. On top of that, we are going to actually, no, not on top of that, we're going to adhere these two together. So let's put our sentiment on that pool party. And that just lets a little bit of that color come out. I'm going to add dimension. You guys know I love dimension on a card. So we're going to come in with some not mini glue dots. These are the full, and they're not glue dots. They're Stampin' Dimensionals. Yes, it's another day where Connie needs more sleep and more coffee. Okay, we're going to remove our backings, and that way we can add this right here to the front of our card. And I just love that scallop right there underneath. It just gives it really beautiful dimension. Okay, to add our flower, that's going to go right here in the corner. You know what? I think I can really just add a little snail right there. Let's add our flower. That's looking pretty. Now, to me, it was all about that linen bow. Ready for this? We're going to take a mini glue dot. Yeah, now we're going to talk mini glue dots. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to roll it into a little tiny ball here. And I'm going to add that right up here to the corner. And I had to roll it in a ball because that's like a little teeny tiny bow. So we add that right there. And oh my goodness, a beautiful card, isn't it? I love it. Now on the inside, if you'd like, you can come in. There are some additional stamps that you could add some of the flowers. You've got wishing you a blissful future with friendly thoughts and best wishes today and every day. You are welcome to add those. I've said this before many times. I do like to add my sentiments when I'm ready to send the card, because I will either put that sentiment up high because I need lots of room to write, or I put my sentiment right in the middle so I have enough room to say, love Connie. So yeah, just an option there, and I do like to wait when I do those. I just thought the pool party and that flirty flamingo and then those leaves peeking out, but boy, that linen thread just complemented my sentiment nicely. Thank you so much for being here today. Hey, if you liked today's card, I would love a thumbs up on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed, take a moment to click that great big red subscribe button. We love to share videos with you 3 times a week here on my YouTube channel. Thank you again for being here, everybody. I look forward to stamping with you again next time. Bye-bye.